So with the new Warner Brothers James Gunn Superman movie coming out, I mean it's just called Superman. So, but with new James Gunn directed Superman movie coming out, should Warner Bros. Capitalize off the hype and try to make a Superman video game? Should Warner Bros. Even try to make a Superman video game? Because they had difficulty for that for years. People have been asking for that for well over a decade now, ever since Arkham Asylum came out. But the thing is, Rocksteady didn't want to make it because they don't want to have the challenge of trying to write about superpowered characters. They only want to write about characters that don't have any powers whatsoever and rely on guns and gadgets. That's why they decided to make the Batman video games. Trying to make a Superman video game is a entirely different story. Um, the thing is, Superman has so many powers, and that giving it all to the player at once could overwhelm them. Not to mention how the gameplay even works. Now, there are multiple ways the gameplay could work. Uh, for example, you could do what Superman Returns did. Give the city a health bar, but a lot of people said that was stupid when Superman Returns did that. The Superman Returns tie-in game where they had that the city have a health bar. But really, the problem with trying to make a Superman video game is not just writing Superman itself, because I know that there's a great temptation from most writers to make Superman evil for some reason. But even if you don't, even ignoring that, there's the gameplay problems. There's so many different powers that might overwhelm the player. I mean, uh, like super vulnerability, that's just passive. But the super strength, obviously, a lot of games that have done that, and the flight. But comes like you also have laser eyes and frost breath. How do you incorporate that into the gameplay? Maybe there could be some puzzles you can use it for. I don't know. Um, Now, one smart way you could have a Superman video game where it actually feels like it's simulated being Superman is to have the game be focused around keeping as many civilians alive as possible. And if too many civilians die, it's a game over. Now, a lot of players won't like that because because it adds too much challenge to the game, and normally don't really like challenges like that. At least you gotta think about the casual gamer. Like sure at certain points in Batman Arkham Asylum we had to save civilians, but it was during the stealth segments. Uh, during the stealth segments on to encourage stealth usage. It wasn't it wasn't like it wasn't during it wasn't like all the think about civilians 24/7, at least outside the boss fights. That would get pretty grating on a lot of players to always be under those restrictions. For that's a huge risk. I'm not sure Warner Brothers or the people at Warner Brothers is really willing to take that risk. Now the easiest way to make a Superman video game is to take Q and Dragon Ball Z and just have a video and have the game just be boss fights. Just had the game be boss fights, but that could work in the same, but it wouldn't be the big spectacle, because people want open world Superman. Now, unless they got kryptonite bullets, they all have kryptonite bullets, which It's very tricky to even make a Superman video game. Now, I don't think, and from a writing standpoint, studio standpoint, I don't think Warner Bros. Is interested in making a Superman video game. I know it's one of the most profitable, one of the most popular IPs that everyone knows, but they're only concerned on just milking Batman and Harley Quinn, who is DC's main heroine, for all they're worth. We're probably going to get a solo Harley Quinn video game before we ever get a Superman video game or Wonder Woman video game. And that just sounds ridiculous. But that's just how where we're at now. Um, so Superman is tricky from a gameplay design standpoint. Now, to have nobody else on panel with me to discuss this further, to have a true discussion about this, but how I would design it would be that um you have to do you have more public morale, and the higher the morale is, the stronger Superman is. So Superman's power level is tied entirely to how happy everybody else is with their lives. By everybody else, I mean civilians. And the more favors you do for his direct supporting cast of non-superpower people, like not just Lois, but also Jimmy Olsen, Perry White. The more you please his supporting Superman supporting cast, either ask Clark Kent or ask Superman, the higher morale meter goes up, and the higher morale meter is, the stronger Superman is, and the more you say civilians, the less civilians. More civilians are saved. The highest meter, this morale meter goes up as well. I have Superman's power level scale entirely with how much other people like him. So it's like a game. So Superman's powered by the city's morale. So he's powered by Metropolis morale. Then and you get weaker during boss fights. How good are you at the boss fights is determined by how strong how high Superman's morale is at the moment. So you, the player, are stronger the more you help people. That would be cool, but I don't know if that reflects Superman's character or not. Now, that game mechanic that might not reflect Superman's character the best. But it would reflect him as a symbol of hope. But I actually think that might reflect Wonder Woman's character more so than Superman. I'm not exactly sure. But um, mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. What I what I would envision for a Superman video game is maybe have instead of having regular enemies with guns, because that can't hurt Superman. You can have there are many armies of different robots in DC comics lore, or mutants, like generic robot army. Just let me look up. It's been a while since I've read Superman comics. Let me look up something, because I've read a lot of old Silver Age comics. That's how I know about Grollo, because I made some art of him, like random issues of Silver Age comics. But I don't keep up a lot of the modern Superman stuff. Um, Robot enemies DC Comics. I know there's a couple of the generic types of robots that exist. Let me see. Mm-hmm. No. Nah, yeah, 'cause I gotta look them up because again, this is kind of difficult. Let's see what types of robots exist in DC Comics. Not a specific character robot, I mean like an army of robots. That they just use. Oh, the middlemen have the bolts. Those are an organization of renegade robots that want to take control of the planet. You can have the bolts. Bolts be the main tags of Superman video game. At least the main mook enemy, that like kind of like a stormtrooper or just generic enemy that's making fight. While the real threat is probably could probably be Brainiac. I know the temptation is strong to use Lex Luthor as the main antagonist of a Superman video game, so that's probably not an option. Like have Brainiac drones or something like help take over the world. Well, like that, I don't know. The temptation to use all the other villains is too strong. So so I don't know. So I don't know. So we see how hard it is. You can't use regular goo guys and guns. It has to be some kind of some kind of superpower army of robots, something. Mutants or whatnot. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the game from gameplay standpoint, making a Superman video game is hard. Because all these because never designed to be a video game character. So like there are challenges to work around. Maybe just there are multiple ways to go about this. The easiest, most latest way is just to go Dragon Ball Z approach, like Dragon Ball Z approach, where the game is done nothing but boss fights against other superpowered beings, or a small number. Again, it's not really a battle against armies of mooks and nothing like that. It's a boss fights against other superpowered beings. That's really all Superman. But you can't really make an open world game though. Oh, that's kind of the problem. Like open world Superman doesn't really work that well. Mm-hmm. Now, and there's an unwritten rule ever since Batman Arkham City came out that all superhero video games have to be some open world stuff. Like Arkham City, sorry, not Arkham Asylum. I don't know if I say Arkham Asylum. But some of them work best not open world. Like some video games work better than just linear games. Nah, I think Superman is one of those where it will just work. The game from game standpoint, open world actually restricts you more than if you just did that linear game. Uh, um, yeah, Superman is one of those characters is hard to write for because it's not the power levels that's the problem. It's Superman's villains are designed to hurt him. I know most of Superman villains are either designed to hurt him or hurt civilians. The ones that just hurt civilians, you can't really use that actively in game. So Superman just beat them instantly, like Toyman. Toyman, Superman just beat instantly. But characters like Metallo, Parasite are very easy because they can hurt Superman especially if he gets close. So the player kind of has to strategize around them. But Bizarro, Bizarro could work as a final boss or something. Like that would be cool to have Bizarro as like a final boss. Mm-hmm. Uh, no, probably run out of steam. It's only 16 minutes, but I kind of don't have anyone to discuss this with. Uh, I know some people could probably do uh reactions or have a discussion about this in the comments after this live stream is over. But I'm not sure. I'll probably have to call that night very soon. Now, to answer the question, would it make? I got more to say. Would it, from a financial standpoint, after the Superman movie comes out and inevitably makes money? This is a Superman movie, a new which had in 12 years. Yeah, 12 years. Been 12 years since Superman movie. Um, but should Warner Bros. Capitalize off it with a Superman video game? Because fans have been asking for that for years, but no one can figure out how to get it to work. Well, from a financial, from a marketing business sense standpoint, they probably should, but they won't because the Warner Bros. Doesn't know how to capitalize on any of its characters. Like after the Green Arrow TV show came out, they should have made that the Arrow TV show on CW came out. They should probably made a Green Arrow video game since it's very easy. It's just a guy with a bow and arrow. He has a bunch of the trick arrows as well, which most of which have been used in games before. It'll be incredibly easy to make a Green Arrow video game, but they didn't because they don't see Green Arrow as profitable and marketable. They don't see the Flash as profitable or marketable, even after the Flash TV show came out and ran successfully for years. Millimeters that they don't see value in anything that doesn't make $1 billion on its opening weekend. So they don't see Flash as a valuable IP. They don't see Green Arrow as a valuable IP. Those had TV shows that ran for years that the audience is most definitely familiar with. It's been over 10 years now for both of them since they both came out. But at the same time, the fact that they didn't capitalize on Green Arrow when that a video game based on Green Arrow will be very, very easy to make. But they didn't capitalize on it. So that's just Warner Bros. Warner Bros. Has popularity window of Wonder Woman slide. Like Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman has gotten a shaft. Like ever since the Wonder Woman 1984 came out, the supposedly garbage sequel, because I have not seen the movie myself, but the supposedly garbage sequel to Wonder Woman. Ever since that movie came out, they just kind of shaft Wonder Woman the same way, almost the same way as they did with Green Lantern. Like they refuse to even acknowledge the characters the character so much. Like they don't even do anything. They don't even do anything Wonder Woman. They don't make a Wonder Woman cartoon. They don't make a wild video game. They just gonna pretend that character doesn't exist for the time being. If it's not Batman, that's what they're gonna do. I'm probably gonna call it a night. And please sure to follow the link to that artist's social media. Well, not social media. His art gallery. It's in links in the description. Goodbye, everyone.